the suspect approaches a white Tesla. Then he pulls out.
You're on the ground! You're not doing it!
Police officers are trained to be one step ahead always, but every now and then suspects outsmart idiotic cops and leave the authorities scrambling to keep up. Today, we have 8 cases that show exactly that, especially in this first case where an intense car chase caused chaos. In a dramatic South Florida car chase, 2 suspects in a Lexus sped at 140 miles per hour, were escaping police and causing havoc. The drama increased as one suspect leaped out with a weapon and tried to hijack a car but was rejected. The real shock was when he yanked Dr. Emilian Cristia from his Tesla, leaving the stunned doctor to call his wife for help. As the chase intensified, authorities T-boned the Tesla, leading to the suspect's temporary surrender. He bolted through neighborhoods, shed his clothes, and plunged into a canal, even crossing paths with a confused duck. Finally, he emerged from a garage in nothing but red underwear, bringing this wild chase to a bizarre end. The doctor was grateful the ordeal ended safely. The criminal ended up facing serious charges, including carjacking, aggravated assault with deadly weapon, fleeing police, rash driving, and illegal firearm possession. This dramatic chase wrapped him behind bars. This first guy was at least smart and active, but this next suspect tried blending in with his surroundings, and it seemed like he was going to get away with it as well. In a dramatic pursuit, LAPD officers chase a suspect who's clumsily attempting to hide but luckily succeeding. The pilot tried to frantically direct the officers, but they initially missed the mark. Eventually, after some confusing turns and close calls, the LAPD helicopter arrived with the critical intel. It was a mix of chaotic blunders and a satisfying conclusion. LAPDs had to use a helicopter to chase a man who was just lying behind the car. It was extremely stupid, but still, the suspect was finally apprehended and charged. If you thought that was a colossal fail, wait until you watch the detective losing his cool over a 15-year-old and starting to insult the boy's looks.
That you think I know more than I'm saying, which I don't. I think that's harassment. That's calling me a liar.
In 2011 at Louisville, a chilly murder shook everyone in the community when a mere stepfather relationship turned deadly, and 14 years old, Trey Zwicker became the victim of his stepfather, Josh Gooker, and Joshua Young, his stepbrother's brutality. Watch as the situation unfolds, causing intense drama, leaving everyone in shock.
So you understand my concern with the story, correct? I mean, I would think that your first story that you told Detective Maroney at the school is probably the true version of the events. Because Cassie says she doesn't remember if you stayed there or not that night.
John does.
No, John doesn't either.
Because he was passed out on the couch.
I'm just telling you. So we need to work through what the truth really is, okay? Like I say, you're leaving here when you're done talking to me. Or you're gonna walk out right now, but so we kind of need to get the truth. And there's a lot of other things I want to talk to you about. So let's kind of work through this part at first.
Josh Gooker went to prison several times. He could have said something to Joshua Jr. that resulted in his changed statement. Joshua might be under his father's influence.
We were on the back porch. It was me, him, Dad and Amanda stayed on that porch the whole night, evidently, because we were on the back porch and he told me he was going to take a shower and calm down for the night. So I went to Cassie's. I planned on, I didn't know if I was going to sleep down there or sleep down at Amanda's, but I got comfortable down at Cassie's. Ended up watching a movie and falling asleep down there.
So why would you?
I guess the first day, it was a bad day.
Yeah, and I understand that. I can understand, but let me tell you this. I had a family member murdered before, and when I told the police back when I was like 11, I told them the truth the first time. I didn't have to tell them something that I know I was upset and I was scared and I was angry and I was all those things that everybody went through. But I still told the police when they asked me a question, I would tell them what happened. So when you start telling a couple different stories, it makes me wonder about your credibility or your truthfulness. And at this point, I believe the story you told her at the school that day is the true story. Because even Amanda said you were there that night when he was taking a shower.
No, I wasn't. You can ask my dad.
I mean, but the stories aren't even, well, your stories aren't even close. To, I wasn't there. I was down at Cassie's watching TV, getting comfortable. To, I was there. I saw him take a shower. We were going to go to bed. I saw him put his clothes back on, including his shoes.
But I got that story because my dad and Amanda told me that night he walked out the back door full dress, hit the toe, and then walked back in and shut the door.
And of course, I think that's easy to say now.
The detective's suspicion was quite valid at that moment. Changing the story didn't add up, but Joshua was trying to stay cool about it.
Okay, but you see what I'm saying? That your story doesn't make any sense. And I don't want you to get jammed up in this murder case at all.
Had
Okay.
nothing to do with it.
And so that's kind of where we need to work through right now before we go into some other things. I think you were in the house that night.
No, I'm not.
I think you saw him take a shower. I think you saw him put his clothes back on, and I think him and your dad went back down to where this happened at.
The detective's strategy was clear. He was trying to make Joshua squirm and reveal the truth. Considering his father's criminal record, they must have been together during the murder. But Amanda also holds responsibility in the death of her son.
See on my phone? A lot of people have these nowadays. It's got a voice recorder on it. And we can record, and I can talk and say, Chop, hello, how are you doing, Josh Young? And I can stop it. And I can save it. And then I can play it. I can talk and say, Chop, hello, how are you doing, Josh Young? See how that works? And you would never know if that was you'd never know if this was sitting right here with you. That I was recording our conversation. You would have no idea.
The cop dropped bombshells about hidden recording devices. By using this tactic, they were trying to ramp up the pressure to get him to spill the beans.
And I know you've talked to a few people.
Just you.
I don't mean police-wise, I mean friends. Some of your friends you've talked to. And you've told your friends a few things, a little more in detail about maybe what happened to Trey. Yeah?
Like what?
And I've got a text message from some of your friends that they were sending to their other friends, telling them what you had told them.
Well, I've told you the truth.
What have you told Connor?
That he was killed. Really haven't told her anything.
Who's some of your other close friends?
After that incident, nobody was really able to come back around.
It seemed like Joshua didn't care about that pressure. After all, he was still keeping silent, which was about to drive the detective up the wall.
I was pretty cool with everybody on the street. Everybody was always down there. Cassie's, Amanda's.
What other female friends do you have or do you associate with?
Not really any.
Who's Connor been arguing with on Facebook?
Sarah.
Have you talked to Sarah?
Not recently, no.
I mean, over the murder, a couple days after the murder.
Maybe.
Think about what I just showed you on my phone or what we talked about. And I want you to tell me the truth about what you and Sarah might have talked about.
I can't remember if I've talked to Sarah or not after. I know I've talked to her before,
Right.
but
And what were y'all's conversations about Trey?
none. She didn't know anything about Trey that I knew of.
She knew Trey.
She did? I didn't know that. She never came around.
What other girls do you have that were friends of yours?
Not really any. Sarah's not even a friend. I don't talk to her anymore because Connor and her don't get along, so I haven't talked to her at all.
Why would some of your friends, male or female, come to me and say that you and your dad were talking about how you all would kill people before Trey was murdered, and that Trey was murdered in a similar fashion to how you described how you and your dad would do it?
I have no idea.
So why would they lie about that?
Grudges? I don't know. I get along with everybody.
Josh's parenting was awful, but what else would you expect from a father with a criminal record? He was so messed up that he killed his girlfriend's child just because she had aborted his baby.
So if I had a grudge with her for any reason, some kind of work issue, you think I would go around saying,
I mean, that'd be a horrible thing. I know what
Bridget
you're
told
saying.
me that her and her mom were going to talk about how they were going to kill somebody.
I know what you're
And then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a horrible
That's-
thing. Maybe for credit.
It'd be
Maybe
something
to be-
different on a grudge. You could be like,
Maybe to be noticed. I don't know.
were you talking about stuff like that maybe to be noticed?
I never once talked about killing anybody, and I never heard my dad talking about killing anybody. And my dad liked Trey, and so did I.
Okay, let's talk about the ride down. Why did y'all go to Alabama? What was the reason to pick Alabama?
We were just passing through Alabama.
What made you all even leave? The girl that was with you, who's she?
Sister friend.
Had you met her before?
Huh?
Had you met her before?
Joshua was pretty good under pressure, that's for sure. Those traits must come easy when you have a dad with an extensive criminal record.
So, what was the conversation in the car? And going down to Alabama, when you're all driving in the car, what was some of the conversation you all had?
Can't even remember.
And not specifically talking about just the incident with Trey.
I don't even know if we talked to Trey about Trey on the way to Alabama.
You all talked about it because she did the same thing. She knew that your dad might be a little. She's not sure if she could trust him all the way, so she recorded some of y'all's conversations.
I don't believe that because we didn't talk about Trey on the way to Alabama.
So why would I hear on the recording that you all were talking about, you specifically talking about, you were kicking Trey in the head?
I don't know. That didn't happen. I never have said that in my life.
You all talking about killing people a couple weeks before the murder, and Trey dies similarly. And this girl driving to Alabama, she's lying. So everybody's just lying.
That's not true at all.
So they're all just liars.
I don't know what they are. They aren't telling the truth, so it must make them liars.
Have you had a chance to think about? Obviously, I mean, your life was pretty good while your dad was in prison. You got in there. You had a much better situation.
I mean, I love my dad more than anybody in this world, and I'd rather be with him than anybody in this world. So my life was much better with my dad.
So your life was better getting arrested in Alabama?
Being with my dad, it's all worth it.
Really? So you would rather not be in a secure home, having a secure school,
If I'm with my dad,
having a decent family, having Trey as your friend, now he gets out of jail, or he gets out of prison, and Amanda quits her job, he goes to jail, Trey gets murdered. I mean, all that stuff's better? That's better to you?
of course not. I said being with my dad is better than being anywhere else.
In Alabama for a gun charge? That's better? I'm confused by that statement.
That had nothing to do with it.
Because, well, obviously you did, because they released you and let the charges dismissed.
So that was just accidental arrest. They had no reason to arrest me.
Well, there was a gun in the room, and nobody had a permit to have it, so that's their city ordinance, so it's not an accidental arrest. I mean,
They could. I don't mess with my guns. I'm 15. I look like I have a gun.
well, and you don't think I've arrested 15-year-olds for carrying guns before?
I'm sure you have.
Okay, so then,
I mean, but
but, I mean, that just doesn't make sense, but,
that's
so,
Imagine being all grown up to be a professional qualified investigator only to get baited by a kid. That's ridiculous.
kicking him in the head, and you didn't talk about kicking, I mean, it just seems like
Him in the
everybody's, yeah, I just said that about 5 minutes
yeah,
ago.
that's
It seems like everybody's telling me stuff, and to you, everything's like, no, nothing happened, they're liars, I don't know what you're talking about.
I've never said anything like that. Neither is my dad or anybody.
Do you know much about, I'm sure you probably watch like the CSIs and all that kind of stuff, yeah?
I like Law and Order, but CSI's alright.
A little more cheesy, you know?
We started talking on Facebook while my dad was in prison, but
How old is she?
how old is she? I don't know.
I mean, is she like 20 or is she like 40 or 10?
I guess around my dad's age. I'm not sure.
What was the situation there with him and her?
They were arguing over her talking to somebody or something. I don't know.
Were you there, I guess, when he supposedly put a knife to her throat and all that? Where were you at when that happened?
I didn't know that happened at all. So I can't answer that question.
Well, I mean, did he ever go up there recently without you? I know you all went once. And then how did you all get up to Michigan?
This last time?
Yeah.
My sister's mom.
All that questioning looked like a total flop now. The detective was stumbling at every turn. Joshua was clearly not going to confess anything.
I had nothing to do with anything about that, so I don't feel the need to talk about it.
Okay, going back to the forensic stuff. Some people said that your dad, and I have phone records to verify, said that your dad talked to somebody, and I'm not gonna tell you who, at about 9:37 on that Tuesday night y'all had the cookout. And he said that he was with you, and your dad said that he was with Trey, and y'all were all smoking. I'm not worried about it if you are, because I ain't the police, I don't care about that. I just got to tell you what the story is so you know what I'm talking about. And this was at 9:37. And the toxicology results for Trey after the autopsy was he had marijuana in his urine, but not in his blood, which means it was in the system just quickly enough to get in his urine before he was killed.
No, he smokes just as much as anybody else. If he has weed in his system, it's in his blood.
It's not in his blood.
It's an everyday thing.
So at 9:37, he's saying he's with you and Trey smoking weed. And then Trey doesn't have enough weed in the system to get into his blood, which means he was pretty fast after that phone call.
I was at Cassie's.
But you weren't at Cassie's.
I was.
No.
With John. John was on the couch. He was waking up, nodding back off.
You may have been there at some point, but you weren't there. You were there maybe after Josh took a shower, or Trey took a shower, and Trey got dressed, and Trey tried to leave, and Trey put his shoes back on. Because I know you saw all that.
The interrogator was a whole mess, made all that stuff up to get the truth, but Joshua was too clever.
Because you clearly said it. I mean, I can play it again if you want to hear it. I can play it again.
I heard everything on the CD.
You
don't have to trust me. I mean, you don't know me.
I mean, if you're lying about that, then how do I know you're telling me the truth about anything else?
That's just a chance you have to take. My dad was with Amanda. She stated that the whole night. Why would she try to change it? Is she trying to change that now?
Well, I'm not going to tell you who's changing what or who's talking about what. That's part of the investigation. So have you had time to think about what might have happened down there that night?
I mean, it's just blank in my head. Everybody's thought about it. I don't know what could have possibly happened.
The cop was giving Joshua a hard time for lying, but he was lying just as much himself. He was not even letting him finish his sentences.
Now that he called me and y'all got locked up to let me know y'all got locked up.
I didn't know anything, but I had to talk to my dad since we got locked up, so no.
Important in this investigation.
I understand that, and I've told you I have nothing to do with it. Neither does my dad. That's why are you harassing us and the close family instead of really trying to figure it out? I've heard
So
people
you
say
know,
that.
so you know what I've done in my investigation.
I mean, you've been harassing my dad, so is everybody else.
How about harass your dad? Your dad calls me like 20 times a day.
I mean,
So, oh, wait. You're gonna sit there with your hat cocked sideways, with your red that your dad likes to wear and all that stuff, and your red shorts hanging down, your underwear sticking out, and then you're gonna tell me things that you have no idea about.
I just don't.
I have not harassed your dad. So you're just you can sit there and say stuff that you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I feel
Who
like
else have I
it's-
interviewed in this case?
I have no idea.
So then you don't know who else I've
Me and my
interviewed in this
dad.
case. You don't know who I've interviewed in this case.
I'm talking about me and my father.
Right, but you said I need to be doing stuff to find out who really did it. But you don't know what I
Instead
did.
of interviewing
So
me,
to sit there and just run your
Dad,
mouth is
Amanda,
pretty inappropriate.
Well, I'm sorry for being
You should be swearing.
but I didn't mean it that way. I just meant.
Well, how do you mean it when I say you
I
say
think
I'm
it's an
harassing you?
inconvenience that you're interviewing me right now and I don't know anything.
Okay, but you just said 10 minutes ago that if you had my job, you would ask you the same question.
Yeah, but not keep on going and saying that you think I know more than I'm saying, which I don't. I think that's harassment. That's calling me a liar. And
I think I can play it again if you want to hear your statement,
I told you.
which to me you're a liar.
The detective was clearly trying to pin everything on Joshua without any real effort, but this kid was too sharp to be easily tricked.
I mean, your own word. It's your own words. You can't take back your own words. Your own words where you saw him take it. You knew he was taking a shower. You all were going to go to bed. You never once told Detective Roney that you were going to go down and stay at Cassie's house. You told her you all were preparing to go to bed. And he took a shower. You watched him put his clothes back on. You watched him put his shoes back on. Those are your own words, not my words, not her words. You can't take back your words. Those are on tape.
I've told you the story.
And that's, I believe it really is just a story.
It's the truth.
Okay, so then it must be the truth that you saw him put his clothes back on and take a shower.
Now, I knew he put his clothes back on and his shoes back on. And they must have been the black shoes because the only shoes he wore.
But that's not what you told her.
Well,
It wasn't because you heard.
I wasn't shocked that day. I was. Along with everybody else.
Just want to ask you this, if it came down to your dad saying he had an involvement or your dad saying you had an involvement, which choice you think you'd pick?
It's neither.
You think you would go to prison for it?
He's innocent and so am I. There's no reason either one of us should be going to prison.
This investigation was a bunch of lies from both sides. But the kid had given the cop a run for his money by handling the situation in a surprising way. Gooker was sentenced to life in prison after admitting to bludgeoning Trey to death with a pipe. Joshua Young, initially acquitted in 2013, later claimed in a letter that he had participated in the crime of killing Trey. His father had nothing to do with it. He was just trying to save Joshua from behind the bar for other charges, showing zero regrets for what he did. Joshua outsmarted the police, and the next officer's slick moves crumbled under the pressure of a sharp mind.
So then that also doesn't illuminate your tag. And on top of that, you got a border around your tag that blocks the county that you live in. You can't have that on your tag.
On the 6th of March, 2018, what began as a routine traffic stop for a minor car tag issue quickly shifted when it was revealed that the suspect was an Orlando attorney who flat out refused the search.
Hey, brother.
Hi, how are you?
How long ago did you get in a crash?
Like a year?
Okay. The reason I pulled you, you can't have white light emitting back.
What do you mean?
Your tag lights, they're supposed to illuminate your tag. Those two white lights, all they're doing is shooting straight back. You can't have any white light limiting them back. So then that also doesn't illuminate your tag. And on top of that, you got a border around your tag that blocks the county that you live in. You can't have that on your tag.
Are you talking about the one that the car dealership was at? The black one?
That silver one that goes around your tag. And you got your registration for me. Do me a favor, roll down that other window for me. Thank you, brother.
The officer was asking for so many documents just for the light was really unnecessary. He was definitely trying to build pressure on the man.
Where are you headed to, man?
Home?
Where's home?
On University on Pier Drive.
How long you been in Orlando? Huh?
I work here since August or so.
Okay, your address just still says St. Pete on your license.
Yeah, I need to update it when my tag in March.
Okay. Are you concealed weapons holder? Any weapons in the vehicle I need to be aware of? Nope, nothing illegal in the car?
Yeah.
So you have nothing in the vehicle?
I have absolutely nothing in the vehicle.
Okay. And you don't mind confirming that by allowing us to look and make sure there's nothing in the vehicle? As you can imagine, we here know all the time as they have nothing and we find stuff.
I'd rather not search my car.
Okay. Cool. Just hang tight, brother, okay?
The cop really tried to trick him into searching his car, and failed miserably. The man was in his rights, and the Constitution got stuck like a bone in this tyrant's throat. According to Orlando criminal defense attorney, if you haven't committed a crime or there's no reasonable suspicion, the authorities have no right to search your car. You're within your rights to firmly say, "No, thanks." Remember, without just cause, that search request holds no ground. So keep your cool and know your rights. Arguing with the cops is one thing, but fighting back with a weapon? That's a whole new level of chaos.
Yeah, do not do it!
On October 15th, 2023, what started as a routine search for disabled motorists on a California highway quickly spiraled into chaos when 39-year-old Joseph Michael Pate had enough.
Hey, can you roll down your window?
The policeman was ready for trouble as soon as he said roll down the window. He backed away immediately. Definitely smelled the chaos brewing.
Hey, stay in your vehicle. Hey! 802, 802. Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. 1199.
Southbound.
He's got a long gun on the ground. Stay on the ground! Let me see your head.
Charlie, 664 gun. 99. Have a charge.
802, he's got an AR. It's underneath him on a sling.
96, 802, he's got an AR underneath him in a sling. Are you wearing anything now?
802, I'm not hit. Not hit.
36, 802, you're not hit. Where is the suspect now in relation to you?
802, he's by the driver's door against this traffic. Can you get me a brake, please? Traffic is kind of heavy. Keep your hands where I can see them. Do not reach for that gun.
Traffic is heavy. Requesting brake. Requesting brake.
With 11 previous arrests under his belt, Joseph's brazen attack on the deputy was no surprise. His violent streak and audacity were just par for the course.
802 firm. Stop moving! Do not reach for it! 802, I cannot tell. There's blackout windows. Stay on the ground! Stay on the ground! Do not do it! I'm hit. 802, I'm hitting the leg. 802, I'm hitting the leg. He's taking off with the patrol vehicle.
Yeah. You good? Yeah. Check equipment. Let's get a better search on him. Yeah. Weapon safe, boys. Yeah. You have any weapons on you? Where's your weapon at? Hey, where's your gloves at?
Here we go.
Hey, anybody got gloves?
I can get some. We have no suspect weapon at this point?
No.
No,
It might be in the car.
They threw it, like, while driving. They think so, yeah. That's what I heard over cross. Okay. Air en route?
I don't know. I have no idea.
The incident answered why cops sometimes fire more rounds even after an accused is hit. Facing off against the authorities before even saying a word surely takes pure nerve. Pate's audacious spree ended in a fiery disaster. He was captured but died later at the hospital due to the severe injuries. The officer he wounded made a full recovery and returned to duty. Going head-to-head with a gun was bold, but things crank up even more when it's a high-speed chase.
Yo, yo, yo!
On February 9, 2021, in Los Angeles, a simple parking violation by a Lester Travis sparked a high-stakes standoff when he refused to turn off his car, turning the encounter into a cat-and-mouse game between the officer and a Lester.
Pull down the window. What's up, bro?
Waiting for my mom, sir.
Okay, you're just parked illegally, that's it, alright? And you got dark window tint.
I'll go over
No big deal. Can you turn off the car for me?
I'll go over here for you, sir.
Turn off the car for me?
Let me move the car for you.
No, just park it, leave it here, okay? Hey, hey!
Yo, yo, yo! Adam 34, shots fired, officer needs help. There's gonna be a suspect vehicle going westbound, Manchester, approaching Vermont, advice 77, advice 77.
Two officers couldn't handle one guy, and then shooting in traffic without a backup plan was just careless. Such irresponsible officers need a serious review before someone gets hurt because of their stupidity. Elster, who did not have a weapon, faced the issue of not being granted bail until the case against him was dismissed. The LAPD later ruled that the shooting was out of policy, but the officers claimed that Elster had made a threatening finger gun gesture was allowed to stand despite evidence to the contrary. Fleeing away in the car was understandable, but the next culprit took the do-or-die situation quite literally.
That's how we got one coming down the ramp. I'm gonna tase the shit out you, boy!
On the 22nd of July, 2022, a traffic stop in Buckhead took an unexpected turn when a suspect attempted to flee, leading officers on an intense chase. The pursuit culminated in a shocking moment with a 55-foot jump off a parking deck.
Hey! You wanna get Hey! Hey! 43! 43! Hey! Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Get on the ground! Hey, you got one in the back! One in the back! Do not I swear to God! That's it! You move your other ass up! Black pants coming down the hill! That's the time we going coming down the ramp. I'm gonna tase the shit out you, boy! Coming down the ramp, gray sweatshirt, black pants, mask on. Guy just jumped down. Hey, he just jumped down. Hey, whoever that is right here.
It was getting downright frustrating how these cops couldn't seem to catch that one guy. What was the deal with these officers?
Male, gray hoodie, black pants, running down the parking deck, and another black male in all black clothing.
Jump down. Hey, he just jumped down. Go to the
Copy, one down, fell off the building.
This was absolutely startling. Jumping off a 55-foot drop just to evade the cops is truly insane. Hard to explain if that was bravery or not, but he was definitely smarter than cops in action. The suspect, who had jumped from a 55-foot parking deck, was found alive but seriously injured. After the dramatic leap, the criminal was eventually arrested by the police, and he faced charges related to the car theft and other offenses. In this last case, the foot chase turned into a twisted game of running for your life between the cop and the culprit. On July 29th, a traffic stop in Ohio took a wild turn when a teen suspect made a daring escape. What followed was a jaw-dropping scene of high-speed drama, leaving authorities searching for answers.
Where you going, bud? Come here. Come here. Come here. Stop walking away. Stop walking away. Come here. Hands out your pocket. Hands out your pocket.
5092.
Go like this. You got anything on you, man? Oh. Stop running. He's running towards 114 in regalia. White t-shirt. Red shorts.
It looked like cops were going to lose yet another suspect. What a wild show. This was dramatic.
He's running east on Kinsman. He's trying to get picked up right now. Cranberry, let go! That's a car, flip on it! It's dragged my partner. You realize that car just dragged my partner. He's 116.
This is why our officers should meet a physical standard before joining the force. They chased that kid down through a wild pursuit and still couldn't get him. Meanwhile, just another kid with a getaway car saved the culprit from these trained officers. Both boys should be held accountable for flouting the number plate regulations and their impulsive attempt to escape the cops, an act that nearly put both the officer and themselves in grave danger. Will this reckless chase spark stricter laws on high-speed pursuits? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you liked the video, subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one we have in store for you. Thanks for watching. This is Detective Mystery signing off.